of Lonsberry continues now on News Radio 570 WSYR, now on 106.9 FM.
Welcome back, friends. Welcome back. Of course, redistricting got finalized in the early hours of Saturday morning. And this big district, NY-24, which stretches from Niagara County down through the Finger Lakes up to Wayne County, Oswego, and up to Watertown. Again, that was identified, its boundaries laid out. And just a few hours after, Claudia Tenney, a congresswoman from Utica, says, I want to run in that district. Well, turns out somebody already is, and that somebody is Mario Fratto, who joins us now. Sir, good afternoon. Welcome to the broadcast.
Great to be with you, Bob. Thanks for having me on.
Who are you, please?
Well, so I guess the best way to put it is I'm somebody who's been running here for 4 months. I was an attorney. I now run my family's construction business that's been in our family since the early 60s, I guess. Been in Geneva for 5 generations. And, I was in this race. I was running against Chris Jacobs. And, of course, this redistricting shuffle and mess, I guess, with the courts, it had candidates hopping all over the place. And, I've been running the whole time in the 24th. I'm dead center in the heart of this district. And all of a sudden, I guess Claudia Tenney went to 23 to run down in the southern tier. And then she popped up here in 24, which I guess is the 3rd district she's in now, and she's looking for a seat. And that doesn't really go over well with me, I think, and the people up here, because they wanted to finally have a local representative, and they have an opportunity for it, and now somebody else is coming in saying, well, I need a seat somewhere, and if it's up there, that's where I'm going to go.
Mario Fratto. Tenney is from Utica, represents that area in Congress now. The first district lines, she didn't like it, said, I'll run in the southern tier. And the current district lines come out, said, I still don't like where I live, and I don't think I can do the southern tier, so I'll go up here to NY-24. Why does it matter where a person is from, sir?
Well, I think that the whole point of being in Congress is you're a United States representative, so you represent the people where you're from. And she was big on saying that she represents Binghamton and Little Falls and Utica and Mohawk Valley. And she said that's home, and she said it's worth fighting for. And then next thing you know, she gives up the fight and goes to somebody else's home, which is my home, where we're from, and I believe you are as well, and says, I'm going to go for that district. And I think that shows that this isn't about representation. This is about you getting a seat in Congress. And that's not how it's supposed to be.
Is Mario Fratto. He's from Geneva and has been for 4 months a Republican candidate for Congress in a district, NY-24, as it's labeled today, which Claudia Tenney here a few days ago said, I want to run in that. Well, why should people select you in the primary, and why should they vote for you in November, sir? Why would you be a good member of Congress, please?
Well, look, I want to cut back on this inflation. It's terrible with the printing presses. They keep spending more and more money. I think something, that Tenney just voted for was in 2 votes to send over $53 billion to Ukraine. And at a time when we're facing record inflation and we're already running record deficits, to send money to another country when the people here can't get baby formula, can't fill up their tanks, the fuel oil for their house is doubling and tripling, and they can't pay their utility bills, to have people in Congress that are going to vote to send our taxpayer money overseas isn't right, and I would never do that. I think we need to tackle the spending, not spend more. Also, I think China is a huge problem. I think we rely on China way too much. We saw it during the pandemic. We allow ourselves to get in a situation where a virus comes from China, then all of a sudden we need masks made in China. We need antibiotics, which 90% of them are coming from China. And God forbid our relationship with China gets like it is with Russia right now. We're not in a position to say we're not going to trade with them because we rely on them for too much. So I think we need to get back to self-reliance, start making those drugs here, start making more products here. And Claudia Tenney is an establishment candidate. The leadership's lining up behind her just like they did against Trump in 2016. They're doing it to me, trying to put in somebody who they're familiar with, who plays the game in Albany and D.C., and I'm not that guy. And I don't think people want that. She's taken some terrible votes, not just the one I mentioned, but She sponsored a bill for transgender rights to allow men in women's bathrooms, men in women's sports. She voted not to block taxpayer funding for sex changes in the military. A lot of people join the military, they get the insurance, and then they decide they want to switch genders. That shouldn't be something the taxpayer foots the bill for. She could have blocked that. She said no. Red flag laws for guns, amnesty for illegals. She's voted for all that. And I don't think that's in touch with the values of this district.
Is Mario Fratto. What's the campaign website, please, sir?
MarioForCongress.com.
MarioForCongress.com. You mentioned Donald Trump. It probably, Claudia Tenney will be endorsed, again, if you will, by Donald Trump. What should people read into that?
Well, look, President Trump values loyalty. He had supported her before. She hasn't turned her back on him like some other Republicans, whether it's voting for a January 6th commission or impeachment. He doesn't know me. He hasn't said anything about me, and I think that that's up to him to decide who he wants to support. But that doesn't mean that that's the right candidate for here. It doesn't mean that she knows the area better, and it doesn't mean that she'd be a better representative. I think people will think for themselves and decide who they want to vote for. And, it's great to have people endorse you. I was just endorsed by Joe Kent. He's a congressional candidate out in Washington State. Former Green Beret. His wife was killed in combat. He's a Gold Star husband. Great guy. He's endorsed by Trump. So I think it's hard to say how much an endorsement matters, but it shows where the direction of the party's going. And I think it's more of the Joe Kent, J.D. Vance wing saying, let's stay out of these wars. Let's stop sending all of our money overseas. And Claudia Tenney's part of the establishment wing that says, I'm going to keep doing as we've been doing, the status quo. And this is not the time for that.
Mario Fratto, MarioForCongress.com. He's running for NY-24. And there will be a primary, August 23rd, I think the date. And that will, in all likelihood, be against Claudia Tenney, who's got big money and big backers. This district looks to me like intensely agricultural, focused on the Finger Lakes, and probably politically, based on who lives there, very, very conservative. Those three areas. Can you deliver in those three areas?
Absolutely. Look, I've grown up here. Where I'm located in Geneva, I'm basically 10 minutes from, Seneca County, Wayne County, Yates County, all over this district. Like you said, it's from Livingston to Cayuga. We have over 400,000 people making up the majority of this district, and that's where I've been my whole life. Like I said, 5 generations. I understand those issues, and I understand the values of the people here. And I think that this is the first time we have an opportunity to send one of our own to Congress, because how these maps shuffle. It's part of the Finger Lakes is the southern tier. Part gets lumped in with Syracuse. Part's going out to Buffalo, and we're always an afterthought. And now we're finally united. We have one of our own, and somebody else says, well, I need a seat. And again, I just don't think that that's how it's supposed to be. And, on the issues, like I said, I don't vote that way. And I think the people don't want that. They don't want gun grabbing. They don't want their money going overseas. And they don't want, transgender rights shoved in their face.
Is Mario Fratto, Fratto, MarioForCongress.com. Well, I need to run off. Here's a question people always ask, and it ends up being about a horse race. And so they say, well, hold it, how can you beat her if she's got all this money and all this support?
Well, you know what? I'm not a supporter of AOC, but she was against a 20-year, 10-term incumbent who was high up in the Democrat leadership. He had $3.3 million to her $300,000. She was outspent over 10-1 as a bartender, and she beat him. And this race, we're not going to be outspent 10-1. I mean, who knows? Who knows how much money's going to come in? But I think it's about reaching the people. It's about knocking on doors. It's about speaking to the people. And if we can get our message out there, it doesn't matter how much money you spend. The people are going to decide this election.
Outstanding. Sir, good speaking with you. Look forward to doing so again. It's MarioForCongress.com, you say?
Yes, MarioForCongress.com, and I'm on Twitter at Mario Fratto, Facebook, Mario Fratto for Congress. I appreciate all the support you guys can give me, because I'm going to need the people with me.
Excellent. Sir, thank you so much for speaking with us. Look forward to speaking with you again. Of course, Congresswoman Tenney's here is welcome if she'd ever like to come on. Ditto for anyone else who might be a candidate in that race. But there is a choice when primary day comes August 23rd. Time for traffic and weather on 570 WSYR.
From the Price Chopper Market 32 Traffic Center, looking pretty good on those major roadways at this time, despite quite a bit of construction throughout the listening area. If you're in East Syracuse, Erie Boulevard East near Teal Avenue, you get a slow-moving maintenance vehicle.